What's up, U20 here, and today I have an amazing Mewtwo Gardevoir deck in Pokemon TCG Pocket. Now this is a spin on the original Mewtwo Gardevoir deck that was developed way back when the game first dropped. This is an updated one. Check the date you're checking this video out. I am posting this June 23rd, 2025. So there have been some new decks, some new cards introduced to the game that makes this deck great and brings it back. Now before I get into it, I do want to say if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more Pokemon TCG content. I do a bunch of other video games, so feel free to check those out as well. Without further ado, let's talk about the deck. Gotta start with Mewtwo, right? Mewtwo is the star of this deck. Mewtwo is going to be the damage dealer. That doesn't mean you can't win with the other Pokemon in this deck, but Mewtwo is going to be where you're going to try to put your energy and resources into to winning your matches. So Mewtwo EX has two moves. One Psychic Spear for 1 Psychic Energy, 1 Colorless Energy, dealing 50 damage. It's okay. 50 for 2 energy is okay, not great. Then Side Drive. 4 energy, 2 Psychic, 2 Colorless. You deal 150 damage. You also discard 2 Psychic Energy from the Pokemon. That's a really powerful move, but getting to 4 energy can be very tough. That's why Gardevoir is going to be the perfect combination with Mewtwo. So for those of you who don't know, Gardevoir has been around a while, and this combination has been around a while, but Gardevoir is going to be the perfect combination for Mewtwo because of its ability, Psy Shadow. Once during your turn, you may take a Psychic Energy from your energy zone and attach it to the Psychic Pokemon in the active slot. So that's great for Mewtwo. Just mentioned earlier that 4 energy for its major attack, Mewtwo's major attack, Side Drive, is pretty difficult to get to. However, Gardevoir is going to make it a lot easier to do so by taking 1 Psychic Energy from the energy zone every turn and attaching it to the Mewtwo in the active slot. This is going to allow you to get your Mewtwo up and running extremely quickly as long as you have Gardevoir on the playing field, and it's going to allow you to win matches by consistently attacking with Side Drive. Yes, you're going to lose 2 Psychic Energy after you use Side Drive, but utilizing the energy from the energy zone as well as Gardevoir's ability, once Mewtwo is up and running and you have Gardevoir on the bench, you're going to be able to keep Mewtwo in Side Drive up and running until it's either taken out or you win. So it's a great strategy. It's still a great combination, and what really makes this combination work now in the meta, the new meta with all of these new cards being introduced, is Rare Candy. So I'm going to talk about Rare Candy, and then I'll talk about the other Pokemon in this deck. Well, Rare Candy, you choose one of your basic Pokemon in play. In this case, it's going to be Ralts. If you have a Stage 2 card in your hand that evolves from that Pokemon, in this case Gardevoir, you put Gardevoir onto Ralts and evolve it, skipping your Stage 2, in this case Kirlia. And of course, you can't utilize Rare Candy on the same turn that you play Ralts. However, this is an amazing card to get Gardevoir online a lot quicker than before, and also get Mewtwo online a lot quicker than before. So Rare Candy, Gardevoir, and Mewtwo is going to be a perfect combination to getting Mewtwo online extremely quickly. So I do love this combination. It still works in this meta thanks to Rare Candy, and it's really great. A combination that if you want to use Mewtwo and Gardevoir, it's still going to work. It's still going to win you a lot of games. I've beaten a lot of great decks with this combination. I've beaten Giratina decks. I've beaten Rampardos decks with this combination, getting my Mewtwo online and getting my Gardevoir online thanks to Rare Candy. So if you're looking for Mewtwo and Gardevoir, both are going to be found in the Genetic Apex Mewtwo packs, and then Rare Candy is going to be found in the Celestial Guardians packs. So be on the lookout for those. Of course, you're going to need the Pokemon to evolve into Gardevoir. So I have one Kirlia. This is the Kirlia from the Space Time Smackdown Dialga packs. It's going to be dealing 20 damage for one colorless energy. I have one in here just because I want to find ways to evolve Gardevoir a little bit quicker. So 2 rare candies and 1 Kirlia is going to allow me more options in the deck to get to my Gardevoir, because I really need my Gardevoir to get my Mewtwo up and running and continuing to run throughout the battle. And then I also have Ralts, which is needed. This is the Ralts from the Genetic Apex Mewtwo decks, and it has 1 colorless energy, Ram for 10 damage. So I have 2 Ralts, 1 Kirlia. So that's the Gardevoir line. Let's talk about the rest of this deck, and I'm going to talk about Comfey. Right now in the meta, there are so many decks that deal poison damage. On top of that, you have a very popular card in Incineroar that burns enemies. So because of a couple of the major status conditions in the meta right now, I like to have Comfey in the deck. Comfey isn't going to be a heavy damage dealer, although surprisingly enough, Comfey did win me a couple of battles. But Comfey's major benefit is its ability, Flower Shield. Each of your Pokemon that has any psychic energy attached recovers from all special conditions and can't be affected by special conditions. So as long as your Comfey is in the field of play, you're not going to have to deal with poison, you're not going to have to deal with burn or any other status conditions. And right now, poison is huge, especially in dark type decks. Well, Mewtwo, Gardevoir, psychic type decks are weak to dark decks, so let's not compound the issue by allowing that dark deck to poison us. Poison Barb, the Pokemon tool, is extremely prevalent in the meta right now. So Comfey is going to neutralize Poison Barb, which is what I do love, and it's also going to neutralize any status conditions. Pokemon that deal poison or Pokemon that burn, like I said, Incineroar and a lot of Pokemon in the meta that deal status conditions are very prevalent right now. So having Comfey is a nice little bonus, so your Mewtwo is not taking any status effects. Comfey can also deal some damage for 1 psychic and 1 colorless, spinning attack for 30. So really not good for 2 energy, dealing only 30 damage, but at least you get a little bit of damage output if you do need to put Comfey in that active slot for whatever reason. I have used Comfey as kind of a shield to build up energy on my Mewtwo in games because I don't need 2 Comfeys. I only need 1 out there to prevent any status effects on my Pokemon. So sometimes I may use Comfey as cannon fodder to build up a little bit of energy on my Mewtwo on the bench, because really this deck is going to win via Mewtwo and Gardevoir feeding Mewtwo energy. So that's going to be extremely important. If you notice that the opposing team doesn't have any Pokemon that's going to status affect you or any tools that are going to status affect you, Comfey can be put in that active slot to buy you a little bit of time. And Comfey, of course, is going to be found in the Celestial Guardians Solgaleo packs. Now let's talk about the rest of the cards in this deck. Pokemon communication is going to be extremely important in terms of finding the cards you need. Whether you need a Gardevoir, whether you need a Ralts, whether you need a Mewtwo, Pokemon communication is going to allow you to sacrifice a Pokemon in your hand that you don't need for a Pokemon in your deck that you want to pull out. So Pokemon communication is going to be great for getting the Pokemon you need a lot quicker. Pokemon communication, for those of you who don't know, you choose a Pokemon in your hand and switch it with a random Pokemon in the deck. And this is going to be found in the Space Time Smackdown Dialga packs. Next, some of the basics. Pokeball, you draw a basic Pokemon from your hand, or from your deck into your hand. Professor's Research, you draw 2 cards. Last but not least, 2 trainers that I absolutely love having. Sabrina is extremely important. You can pull out a card, hopefully pull out a card from your opponent's bench into the hand. Now, of course, what Sabrina does is you switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. Your opponent takes one of whatever Pokemon they have on the bench and puts it in the active slot. So this is going to be great so you can attack a Pokemon that you maybe want to attack, or you can even slow down your opponent from attacking if their Pokemon in the active slot has all of the energy on it. You force it to the bench, you force a Pokemon into the active slot they don't want there, and now your opponent has to figure out how to get that Pokemon out of the active slot. So you can either pull out a Pokemon and damage one that you want to damage, or at least slow down your opponent, which is why I absolutely love Sabrina. It's great for multiple reasons, and you can find Sabrina in the Genetic Apex Charizard packs. Last but not least, Cyrus. I love Cyrus. I only have one of these, but it can be crucial at the end of games. So Cyrus, you switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has damage on it to the active slot. This is going to be important so you can get weakened Pokemon from the bench to the active slot and finish them off, especially at the end of battle when Pokemon are damaged. Maybe your opponent's trying to protect a certain Pokemon because it's an EX, they don't want to give up 2 points, or they know it's going to be easily taken out. Cyrus isn't going to allow your opponent to do so. So I absolutely love having Cyrus as well in this deck so my opponent can't hide their Pokemon. Sabrina and Cyrus are going to be absolutely crucial for this deck. And Cyrus is going to be found in the Space-Time Smackdown Palkia packs. This deck is really fun to utilize. Mewtwo is still a phenomenal card when you're able to get it going. Yes, it's a little slow to get going because it requires 4 energy for 150 damage. But once you're able to get it going, it is really hard to stop, especially if you have Gardevoir on the bench. 150 damage is really solid damage. You're going to be able to take out a lot of Pokemon with 150 damage. But what's even more beneficial is the fact that if you do have Gardevoir on your bench, you're going to be able to deal 150 damage every turn thanks to equipping 1 energy from the energy zone and another energy from your Gardevoir's ability. It's going to be absolutely awesome, and you're going to be able to take out a lot of Pokemon. Of course, some of the drawbacks is that it does take sometimes a little while to get Gardevoir online. Gardevoir is really going to be crucial to getting Mewtwo up and running. Mewtwo is absolutely phenomenal, but 4 energy is just too tough to equip on its own in any battle. So you kind of need a turbocharger, if you will, and Gardevoir is that turbocharger. So getting Gardevoir up and running is going to be crucial. That's why Pokemon Communication, Pokeball, and Professor's Research are all going to be crucial in this deck, so you can try to get that Gardevoir ready and going when you need to pull the Gardevoir. Now, Cyrus, Sabrina are fantastic so your opponent can't hide Pokemon on the bench. Comfy is great again to protect your Mewtwo from any status conditions. It's a phenomenal Pokemon to have. Of course, there are other options that you can go with instead of Comfy. You can utilize Pokemon Center Lady that heals 30 HP and recovers from status conditions, which is always an option, but I prefer Comfy here. I protect from the status conditions, and I don't have to worry about what trainer card I need to use in the moment. I can utilize my Sabrina or Cyrus, keep Comfy on the playing field. And what's also nice about Comfy is, like I said earlier, if you don't need to protect your Mewtwo from a status condition, you can utilize Comfy either as cannon fodder so you can build up energy on Mewtwo, or you can utilize it to deal a little bit of damage while you're kind of trying to get the cards you need out of your deck. I have used Comfey in certain situations as either cannon fodder or as a little bit of a damage dealer while I'm trying to build up energy on the bench. So that is a way of Comfey providing extra support, more so than just protecting from status conditions. I absolutely love this deck. I love Mewtwo, so I'm glad there's a deck that he can really shine in and still do well in the meta. It's not going to be the meta breaker. It's not going to be the best deck there ever was, but it is a really good deck, and I do love playing with it. Let me know in the comments section what you think of this new and improved Mewtwo deck. Do you like using it? Have you used something similar? And if you utilize this, what changes are you going to make with the cards? I'm interested to hear your opinions on this deck. Let me know in the comments section if there are other Pokemon you'd like to see decks made from. I'll get those done. I hope you enjoy this video. Have a great rest of your day, and until next time, peace.